For allowing women to do what they're supposed to do. All of us have to worship the King.
Yeah.
And we worship him with songs, testimonies, and prayer.
Amen.
I bring you greetings from a century that has been covered during my lifetime.
All right.
I'm not covered, but when I was 3 years old, there were people whose ages ranged from 0 to 100 then. But the benefit of the women that I'm going to talk about does span a century, beginning with a lady that I did not know her first name because she wore a monocle. That means one little thing to put on your eye and hold her finger. I thought her name was H.B. Shaw because that is how she was always introduced.
All right.
She was introduced that way since her husband, Pastor H.B. Shaw, died.
Yeah.
From that day on, she was never again addressed as what her name was, which was Florine. She was introduced from then on as Mrs. H.B. Shaw. Now, I just found that out last night because I always thought that was the woman's name. I thought maybe Harriet B. or something I didn't know. Women have always been the backbone of home.
Yeah.
God made everything he created in ascending order.
Yeah.
From plain old dirt to let there be light,
Yeah.
to the plants, to the things that actually are living like animals, to a man that he made in his image,
Yeah.
Come on.
and then ascending, he made a woman.
My God. That's it.
Or took her from under the man's arm near his heart.
Yeah.
Because she was created for him. And the scriptures, all the way from Genesis to the Revelation,
Right.
always had the honored place
Yeah.
of having men protect us.
Amen.
That has been their role. That is why the woman was taken from him. And then the Lord brought her to the man. That man represented God. The woman represented the church.
Come on.
That God brings to Jesus Christ so that when he stands and says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, on this rock,
Yeah.
I will build my church. He was talking about his bride. The first ladies who raised me, I can never forget, and I owe every one of them so much. Starting with Mrs. E. Lett Dixon, a Native American woman married to a black pastor, who when I was 3 years old, well, I was almost 3, my mother took me to her and said, what age do you take children at? She said, I take them at 3. So I was 2. She said, okay, well, she's 3. And she worked with me for 10 years. I got to see what the life of a minister's wife was. Not only from her, there were all the different ministers' wives that I served. Mrs. Kendall Eccles, Mrs. Moore, Mrs. Amanda Monroe, Mrs. Trammell. I know you recognize these last names, you know, the other ones. Sister Bessie Mitchell, such a gracious lady. Sister Brenda Ward, and I call these names because these are my examples.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the women who shaped who I am today. Among my peers has been Sister Judy Banks at Faith Baptist Church. We have been friends for the 40 years we've known each other, and she has always been one to tell you what the right way is. Mrs. Banks organized the Deaconess Board, the Mother Board, the Missionary Society, and any other things that the men were not in charge of. And yes, we're doing well. I do want to lift up Psalm 128, and I want to tell you about someone special to me this morning.
Amen.
Thank you for asking me as a mother to address this congregation. This is my testimony.
All right. All right.
I was a single mother. And one day I was riding in my car and I said, Lord, I can't stand this any longer. I need to see my husband today.
All right.
And then I took my hands off the steering wheel. Of course, the car was parked by then. I'm in the middle of the street. I threw my hands up and said, you can't talk to God like that. Not that day, people, the first face I saw
My God.
was my husband.
All right.
The first face. You talking to somebody that gets a prayer through and gets an answer, because I will tell it if he does it. And you'd be surprised at how he'll bless you if you are willing to tell it.
Come on, sis. Come on.
God was so kind to me to give me Frank. He is the nicest man I have ever met.
Amen.
We are almost past the time of testing now. Our anniversary for 40 years will be in 24. So we're getting past the time of testing. But I want to lift up Psalm 128 because it is about him. It's about my husband and about me. And it reads, blessed is everyone that fears the Lord, that walk in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy shall you be, and it shall be well with thee. And then verse 3 talks about me. It says, thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house. Let me tell you what that means. That means she attaches to him, and then she blossoms around him.
Come on.
And she climbs into his life as a fruitful vine. And everywhere she goes, she makes it better for him. If he's upset, she tries to help him.
Amen.
If he's disturbed, she tries to calm him.
Come on.
If he's hungry, she tries to feed him. If he's not well, she tries to make him better.
My God.
So let me wrap this testimony up this way. And the reason it has to be this way is I didn't realize what I almost lost.
Come on. All right now.
Frank had 6 surgeries. I know you all are tired of hearing this, but he had 6 surgeries in 6 weeks. By the 6th one, I was grieving him because I couldn't see how he could go on like that. His color changed. He couldn't sleep at all at night. I would listen to groaning and turning all night. It hurt me to look at it. But church, through this, the Lord made me that fruitful vine again. I'm blossoming around him again. Because I
Amen.
almost had to go through 23 without him. And I could not have seen that. It's unfortunate that it takes something like that to make you realize what you have. Yes, I always knew it, but I didn't realize it. The companionship, the joy, the private jokes. We talk about y'all.
That's it. That's it.
My role as a godly woman, which is the goal of every godly woman, says to teach young women
That's right.
to love their husbands, to take care of them. Thank you for what you said this morning.
God bless you.
Sister Fryer talked about a woman who trained her to train others. That's our purpose, isn't it?
Amen.
To glorify our God. Now, let's tell you one more thing and I'll share. So, many of you know Nerlene Lawrence. I know the pastor does. Nerlene Lawrence was at Christian Central. And she was the head person, headmaster, headmistress. She went to China. Here is why I'm fearful. I'm fearful of what you can do in the Lord's service. Because she didn't have a title in front of her name, her luggage was not searched for contraband, which the Bible is considered to be. So a single woman or a woman without a title in front of her name could go into China with Bibles to be given to someone. That would not have happened had she had any title. Sister, mother, elder. Had she had any appellation before her first name,
My God.
her luggage would have been searched and she would have been charged with conspiracy to overturn the government because you may not proselytize in China. Well, I'm global, people. I'm not just local. What I need to say, I will say by God's grace. If it costs my life, so be it. But I would encourage every one of us to take the mantle of responsibility for the women you come in contact with. Loving them is the greatest thing you can do. Telling them the right thing is the greatest thing that you can do. And in the end, my mother is going to be honored. See, the reason you can't go in the kingdom before the rest of us get there is because every time I say something good about my mama, some more blessings go up there. I want all mine. Let's worship the Lord and thank you so much.
Amen.